What advice do you give young people who are coming out of school and entering the business world and wanting to rise to the top?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because, of course, my own children kind of fall into that category at this point. I'm not sure, how qualified you are to, give your own children any advice, but I think I have been I mean, it took a long time, but I've been very fortunate, certainly in the last 15, 20 years, to have intertwined something I'm crazy passionate about in my own, personal life with something, with my professional career. So this sort of development of this thread of education, it's about, my motto is I'm the most boring person at a party because there's only one thing I can talk about. But to be able to actually wrap your professional career in something, in a passion, is, just something that you really are. It's just the greatest thing that could possibly happen. And it didn't happen overnight, and I certainly did spend many years not satisfied with that alignment. And I'm just incredibly fortunate that it aligned. So I think that the advice I give is, as I said, to my own kids, or to actually many of the angel investments that I have are run by young entrepreneurs who, in at least one case was had just graduated from Yale, and in other cases, are not that far out of college. Is that if you can align your passion with what you're doing professionally, that is just a recipe for, certainly, I don't know if you're going to get to the top, but it's a recipe for great satisfaction. And then, I think the other dynamics will flow through. I think the other advice, becomes very specific. It's hard to. I spend most of my time around entrepreneurs, and that's a hard thing. It takes a lot of scrappiness, and it's not always perfect, and you aren't always able to raise money, and sometimes they go out of business, and that's actually not such an infrequent occurrence, and that is a deeply stressful thing. I mean, when we were doing our own businesses, particularly with ThinkEquity, that was an incredibly stressful realization that you had a lot of people counting on you, and so I try to encourage people to realize that, to have some self-awareness of how stressful it is, and to obviously maintain humor to the best of your ability, and to stay focused, and again, I do kind of come back, if you can align mission and passion with what you're doing, it certainly makes it all a lot more satisfying.